Begosso's in the black trunks, Cartwright in the gold.
Good. Fighter ready?
Our referee does have ref cam on, can take us inside the action in the smart cage.
Cartwright goes for the big kick early on. Cartwright was eyeballing Begosso across the cage. There's some capoeira footwork from Allan Begosso. Cartwright got that steady pressure.
Nice jab, this is good. Just keep that way.
Really solid working behind that jab as well. Cartwright, it's accurate, snaps it out, doesn't really commit to it.
Big swing on that hook. Begosso missed Cartwright. Some long jabs from the Englishman. Head kicks to that lead leg.
Yeah, that's a good move. Begosso needs more of that.
Doubled it up too. Neither man has ever been finished as a professional. An even distribution of knockouts and submissions for Begosso in his wins. Cartwright with slightly more submissions, but he is capable of a knockout. Takedown here, Begosso grabbing that neck. It's a tight grip, but not a real submission threat at this exact moment.
Yeah, he's just kind of got his head tangled up. You can see the legs aren't in play for Begosso unless he can do that and roll over. Tried to meet his hands together in a figure four, but Cartwright's wise to it, and now you can see the pressure from Cartwright's shoulder into the side of Begosso's head. Begosso trying to wriggle his lower body back into play, keeping a hold of this guillotine, but he's got to be cautious of the Von Flue choke.
Cartwright doesn't have the right angle or pressure yet for it, but if Begosso leaves that arm on the head too long, it almost forces itself.
Yeah, he's kind of let go of it now. It's almost like he's got on his side and he wants that arm back underneath the body of Cartwright. That's a good scramble. Cartwright looking at the neck. He's got that vice grip. Kind of shallow though. It's balanced on the top of the head, and Begosso strips it and goes for wrist control as he bosses back to his feet.
Good head position here for Cartwright. Begosso's got the 2-on-1, not letting go of that right hand until he's got the space. Big left hook. That one landed.
Yeah, that got Cartwright's attention, swiped him right across the face. Begosso's so bouncy, it's difficult to guess which direction he's going when he loads his lower body. Cartwright just kind of...
Oh! The up elbow! He stepped with the right leg forward and threw that Uriah Faber elbow. Drops Jack Cartwright, who's in big trouble here from these hammer fists. The referee looking closely. Cartwright trying to wrestle on autopilot, and how is he back on his feet?
And now he's on the guillotine, and that's going to be really tight. Look at the bridge. Cartwright scrambles. Man, how did he take that Anderson Silva style elbow? Beautiful work. Came right under the chin.
You just saw Begosso look over at the referee like, how did you not stop that? But Cartwright from the brink back into top good position here.
Man, you just never see those elbows.
Some swelling, nasty little mouse developing on the right side of Cartwright's face.
Cartwright maybe trying to lean into his jiu-jitsu, at least just to clear his head a little. Now he's wrapped the neck of Begosso. Be a pretty solid comeback if he was able to get the finish after that knockdown.
And there was a big energy dump for Begosso, so we'll see how he can respond. We're still in round one.
Yeah, 45 seconds. There's Cartwright with the shoulder pressure again. But, I mean, he'd have to do something really significant to win this round back on the scorecards after such a big moment for Begosso.
Look at the way Cartwright's just inching his fingers along the mat in an attempt to isolate that right arm of Begosso. Heavy top pressure here from Cartwright, who somehow will finish the round on top. So the corners working on that swelling. Cartwright's got at the end of his right eyebrow. Begosso gave us a wink, walked back to the stool.
Ready? Fight, gentlemen.
Nary a word from his corner. They're just letting him work.
That's a good swelling on the side of the, right next to the temple of Cartwright. Goes to the long left hook again. In for a takedown again. Double to single. Good wrap on the neck though by Begosso. Got like a ninja choke position but gets driven to the floor.
It was interesting. He had that ninja choke, sort of the arm under the chin, but then a figure four on his own right forearm to keep the grip strong. Still Cartwright able to pull through for the takedown.
Now Cartwright on the back. He's got one hook in, but Begosso's got the opportunity here to use the cage and scrape him off. Unless that left foot of Jack Cartwright finds its way in. You can see right now it's behind his opponent around here. He needs to try and get behind his opponent so he can get his foot into this space. Good control by Cartwright. He's finding himself in top positions. Got that Dagestani handcuff for a moment as well.
Now reaching across, trying to threaten the neck again.
Yeah, that's a difficult head and arm position that he's got. Good pressure.
We welcome in our audience on ESPN2 to Professional Fighters League action from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the UPMC Event Center. A sold-out show tonight. The crowd now looking at Jack Cartwright on top of Allan Begosso, trying to get this rear naked choke if he can put himself behind the Brazilian. Sean O'Connell, Dan Hardy on the call here as we march towards the main event. Johnny Eblen, Brian Battle coming up. Dalton Rasta, Impaka Sunganai in the co-main event. Middleweight bouts looking to clarify the title picture after last week in Madrid, Spain. Costello Van Steenis defended his 185-pound PFL championship.
The Cartwright's trying to creep that other hook in now, you can see, but Begosso's keeping his leg high, keeping that left knee high so he can defend that hook. Cartwright's going to try and build up, drags him back. There is a submission here. Oh, now he pulls to a north-south position. Can he finish this choke? We don't see it very often in MMA. It's not easy to get. Switches it to a DAS. Very nice. Now goes back to the vice grip. Lovely chaining together. Begosso's bellied out here so he doesn't get rolled over. You can see Cartwright's going to try and move him onto his side, trying to boss him over here. He's collected the leg. That looks tight. Begosso did a good job of scrambling his neck clear.
He stays so calm even in these compromised positions. Begosso, the Brazilian, training at Syndicate Mixed Martial Arts down in Las Vegas. So you know he's in really strong rooms and probably put in bad positions all the time.
Oh, that's looking tighter.
Trying to isolate that neck. Here's a tough north-south choke. That's a tight grip.
Yeah, you can't stay here for too long. I mean, if Jack Cartwright keeps sinking his shoulder back and collects that chin, he can put some real pressure on the neck. You can see Begosso's hand here, though. It's causing all kinds of problems for Cartwright. It's kind of getting in the way.
And that north-south choke, Dan, as you know, it's such an art. It's so difficult if you don't practice it a lot. If it's not really something that you work on in your arsenal, it's hard to finish.
You know, sometimes people just have the right physique for that submission. I remember Jeff Monson would crush people with that.
Oftentimes it is a lot of very muscular wrestler-type builds. With respect to Cartwright, that's not how he is put together.
No, there will be some space in there compared to compared to a choke from someone that's probably, you know, a heavyweight or someone that's more compact and muscular. Probably Begosso would have a better shot at a north-south choke with his build. Cartwright needs to rack up some punches here, though.
And Begosso, he's doing just enough to keep himself out of trouble. He hasn't worked very hard for a stand-up in this round. Almost like he's sacrificing round 2 to survive to round 3 after potentially having banked the first in his favor. Sean O'Connell here on the commentary alongside Dan Hardy.
Fight, gentlemen.
Our Smart Cage announcer tonight is Greg Hamilton. Kennedy Smith working cage side.
Goes with the uppercut, counter by Cartwright with the lead hook. He's being very cautious now, not knowing what Begosso's going to do.
Good body kick.
To predict.
A little hop there shown by Begosso before the stance switch. Back to orthodox. Good head movement by the Brazilian.
Very cautious Jack Cartwright after that first round knockdown.
You see Begosso's trying to show him, if you're changing levels onto a takedown, I'm going to try to meet you with a flying knee.
It's almost like he's just trying to remind Jack Cartwright that anything could happen. I mean, like we said in the first round, when Begosso loads himself, it's difficult to predict which direction he's going to go. That was a wild big overhand. Gave an opportunity for Cartwright to close him down.
Begosso making his PFL debut. Jack Cartwright, the second time in the Smart Cage, coming off a big upset win over Kalen Loughran.
There's a good knee to the body there by Begosso. Cartwright's trying to move him along the fence to get to his back. Begosso's wise to it, though. You can see how he's trying to drag his left elbow across the waistline of Cartwright to square up to him. Great work by Begosso to pull his arm across there. Defended his back, he's got a wrap on that leg. Now he's able to put Jack Cartwright under some pressure, but Cartwright reverses very quickly.
Cartwright, the taller fighter here, so when he gets underneath the much shorter Begosso,
Fingers out of the cage, man. Can't
a
hold
lot
on
of
to that
work for
cage.
Begosso to get himself back down to the right level to reverse position.
Good elbow to the side of the head there by Begosso. Cartwright seems a little stuck in this position. Begosso not doing a great deal to get off the fence, but doing a really good job of defending the takedowns. How he's digging these underhooks back up again. Turns off the fence. Good move.
Swing and a miss on that punch to the body for Begosso.
Nice slip counter right hands. Goes for that lead side kick to the leg. Takedown attempt by Cartwright, gets it.
Under 2 minutes now. Cartwright pressing Begosso against the Smart Cage. Controlling the leg, sitting on that right leg of Begosso.
That top position to keep it.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Begosso to get that leg free. Short shots to the ribs here. Begosso's not really doing a great deal. He's looking a little frustrated, but he's also quite accepting of this position.
He's looking at the referee, but it's not the referee's job to get up from this position. It is Begosso's job.
It seems to me like Begosso's a little concerned of spending too much energy. I wonder what his training camp was like for this fight. I wonder how his conditioning is, because he's fighting very, very cautiously. He's not really expending a great deal of energy, even in these positions where most fighters would be trying to fight out. And he's taking some deep breaths now while he's got that shoulder pressure of Jack Cartwright into his solar plexus. Tries for the guillotine, but he doesn't have control of the lower body. Just kind of a loose grip on one leg. But Cartwright's going to be able to free that.
Desperation attempt here by Begosso. He recognizes he's got to let it go. Cartwright settles into the top position.
Stay active, we're not resting.
Big elbow from the top position. Be a difficult fight to score this.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we turn to the judges' scorecards where they scored the fight. Braslow scored it 29-28 for Cartwright. Varela scored the fight 29-27 for Begosso. And Belinsky scored the fight 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Jack Cartwright!
Split decision victory for Jack Cartwright.
Click below to subscribe and watch more MMA content.